So here's part two of reuniting with Boston George in San Diego in 2017. The reason he wanted to move to San Diego was for better opportunities, according to him, for jobs. There was more availabilities for him for doing presentations and stuff like that. And I was like, sure, why not? Of course, I had an ulterior motive myself, and that's something that I will further explain further down the road. But so when he would go to any present, he would go to any place, or for any appearances or anything. Most of the times at first, my husband and I would take him. And then eventually, it dwindled down of how many times we would take him, because we had real jobs. We had to support ourselves. No one was supporting us. We had to work. And so we worked. So, his partner ended up, having to take him a lot of the times. But when it came down to driving him up to LA or places that were too far for her to drive, then we would drive him. Now, he was part of a bigger project while he was down there, and I was asked to be a part of that project. And I was, sure, why not? I'm here, why not? So I participated in that project. And in this project, as I was talking to somebody, he actually had, behind the scenes, he was listening to the conversation, and I guess wasn't aware of a lot of the personal questions they were going to ask me. And then when he heard the answers, he was very surprised by how candid and open I was about the answers. So when we got home later on that evening, he came to my room and he was like, we need to talk about some of the things you mentioned in the conversation I overheard. And I'm like, okay. And he starts with, you said that you broke up a lot of physical fights between your mom and I. Yeah. That you saw a lot of yeah. And he goes, but you had a great childhood as a kid. I'm like, what? Yeah, I mean, so this is a man who had spent every time he would introduce me to someone, oh, this is my daughter. This is the one who will fly in the Lear jets, and introduced me as the person who, oh, she was our little stewardess. She was the one who would serve Pablo and Carlos and all of the people he would mention drinks on the Lear jets that we would fly, and she was always a stewardess, and she had the best not airplanes, I'm sorry, the best bicycles, and I did this, and she knew my lawyers, and she did this, and my attorney Melvin Moravik would call her precocious just like I would, and he would always think she was so smart beyond her age. And yeah, I wonder why. And so I was like, okay, so I got to fly on jets and airplanes, and I had my own little boat, and I had a lot of bicycles. Yay, me. But the emotional toll it took on me, it never occurred to you everything that I went through. I mean, I'm a little girl, and I am physically splitting you up from fighting physically fighting with a woman who's my mother, because you guys are beating the shit out of each other. I am a child, or I'm keeping you guys away from each other, or I am vigilant all night long, making sure that you guys did not get into it physically. or that I had to, play triage nurse when there was an injury in the house because of one of these incidents, or and I went on and on and on and on and on. And some he does remember. Some he's like, yeah, I remember that. Oh, wow. And in his intelligent brain of his, because he always really considered himself an extremely intelligent man, it never occurred to him the emotional toll it took on me as a child. He's like, yeah, you and your sister were raised without a dad. I felt bad about that. That's probably the most peaceful time I had as a kid, is when you and mom went to jail. Sorry, not sorry. It was probably the most non-chaotic part of my life, was when you and mom went to jail. Sorry, not sorry. And he apologized. Was it genuine? He showed concern. He showed that some remorse. He showed that it was like a little tinge of guilt. But it was, I think, new to him, because he never grasped the full impact that it had on me as a child. And I even tried to explain to him, do you understand that you had only a couple of years, from an infant to when you went to jail, when Christina was a little child, a baby, that she didn't meet you until she was a teenager. You went back to jail, did 20 years, came back out. She was an adult now with a family of her own. And the impact you had on her at that point in her life as an adult. Has it ever occurred to you, your actions, how they impact people's lives? And he straight up looked at me in the face and said, no, because I have to live for me. I was like, oh, okay. So basically it was, I'm sorry, but not sorry again. So that was that. And like I said, when his probation was up, and because of his alcoholism and his extremely volatile relationship he had with his partner, it was time for me to book the hell up out of San Diego and come back home, where it was back to my peace and my non-chaotic, boring life that I loved and enjoyed and missed.